This is the RV Game Changer. In this podcast, we will speak with manufacturing leaders, component suppliers, dealers, subsector innovators, influencers, and industry experts who all believe RVing is good for our environment. It's good for our economy. It's great for our family values and overall well-being. With your help, we can improve the RV experience for everyone. Today's episode of RV Game Changer is brought to you by RVing Today TV. If it has anything to do with RVing and camping, you can bet you'll see it on RVing Today TV. Celebrating its 14th year, RVing Today TV is the #1 weekly RV and camping lifestyle show in the country. Available on major television stations and sports networks nationwide, as well as various streaming media platforms. Visit rvingtoday.tv, where you'll find the list of stations and networks carrying the show, along with additional stories, news, and contests. Hey folks, thank you for joining us today on RV Game Changer. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you a big favor. Please comment, follow, like, and subscribe to RV Game Changer on all your social media channels. It really means a lot to me, so thank you so much. Today, we have the pleasure of meeting a crazy and energetic couple, Jack and Shelby, from the Bimble Effect. In just a few short months, the Bimble Effect has had a tremendous impact and exposure to social media side of the RV industry. They are recent winners of the $25,000 grand prize on the popular RV show RV Unplugged, and featured in the RV Life booth at the largest RV show in the country, the Hershey Show, as well as hosting a fast-growing YouTube channel, to name just a few of their many accomplishments. This couple has been popping up everywhere, and so together, let's find out the magic sauce and what makes them so popular right here on RV Game Changer. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you the winners and champion of the RV Unplugged game show, hailing from somewhere in Tennessee. Right here on our show today, we have Jack and Shelby from the Bimble Effect. Hey, guys.
Very nice. What an intro.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a little bit of fanfare. How's that?
Wow, that was fantastic. I was like,
hey, guys,
who are these people he's talking about? This is great.
At any rate, you guys have been married for a little while, right? Let's get back into like the history of who you guys are. How long have you been married, and how did you meet each other?
So we've been married since 2010. So what is that?
That's like 50 years.
I don't know, something like that.
If my math serves me right.
Yeah. And we met in 2008, and we got married in 2010.
That's right. Yeah, we were able to create a little Brady Bunch as we brought our kids all together to create a nice big family back in 2010.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's right.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So tell me a little bit about your children. Who had what and how and all that stuff. Was it girls, boys, or how was it all figured out?
Yeah.
So I had 2 girls and 1 boy, and Jack had 2 boys.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool for me because quickly having 2 girls, first of all, a whole new challenge, tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I
you have to close the bathroom door.
I had to buy books. It's having young girls or older girls is a lot different than having boys, I'll tell you what. So I had to learn on the fly pretty quickly. It was all for the better. You know, it's a completely different way of raising your kids. To have girls and then all of them together was real special. It was a great blessing.
That's fantastic. And what do they think of all these shenanigans that you guys are up to be honest?
Well, I think it's kind of split. Some of them are very supportive. Some of them are embarrassed, and some like support behind the scenes. Like they don't do comments or anything, but they'll watch and they'll like it. And then we have 2 that are just full on. They will comment on everything, be on every live podcast we do.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's also kind of interesting. There's a weird dynamic with that question because one of our sons, Jake, he's our oldest son. He lost his sight when he was 9 years old, and he's done very well. He went to Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. He's done very well with his life. He even has a social media presence where he he works out. He's into physical fitness quite a bit. He's got a social media presence called Out of Sight Fitness, and he has tried very hard over a period of time to gain a following. And you know how this is too. You try to appeal to as many people as possible. You try to bring some benefit to folks, and you try to build your social following. And then we've helped him along, and then all of a sudden we come along, and we put out our first video, and it does very well, and we got monetized in 5 days. And he's all hands on hips. What the here's his parents putting together a social media channel. We're not 50 years old. We're not supposed to know what we're doing with technology, and we did pretty good on that first run. So that is kind of a weird dynamic now, how we talk on the same plateau as our kids about social media.
Well, that's fun, and I'm sure you guys share tips and tricks to each other too. Say, hey, this worked and that didn't, so you might want to try it this way instead of that way, right?
That's true. Very good.
Oh yeah. So let me show you a little bit about what we're talking about regarding the shenanigans. All right, here we go, guys. Thanks.
We hope we can make you laugh or smile.
Or cry.
No, not cry.
No, we want to make people cry.
No, laugh or smile.
No, a good cry. The type of cry like when someone comes home from the hospital and they're okay.
Okay, well, that might be okay. Would you stop with the crying?
You always say that.
We hope
I'm trying to be a strong man. We hope we can make you laugh, make you smile, and enjoy spending time with us. If all that sounds fun to you, we sure would like to have you join us on the ride.
That's right.
So feel free to subscribe and join us on our next great adventure.
You always like that.
Yeah, that's so funny. Let me pull us back here. It's funny, but it really tells a story about like who you guys are. Like you're sentimentalists at heart, but you really like to have a good time.
Well said.
That sums it up.
That just about sums it up. Yeah. So how long have you been traveling, RVing full time anyway, or not quite full time, but a lot of the time?
It's been about a couple years. We are full time, even though we own property in Tennessee. We live in our RV full time. We take care of my mom, who we have a house on our property here, and then my father-in-law. We have a house, but it actually had a little accident last month when a tree fell on it.
Yeah, well,
just a little accident.
Well, all right. So I've heard of having a car and you have your car insured in case of an unfortunate accident. We've heard of cars being totaled because of an accident. I've never heard of a house being totaled because of a tree fall, a limb falling on it. But we had a 20,000-pound limb fall off a 160-year-old tree and divided the house we had for my dad right in half. And everybody was okay, but the house is totaled. We're still working with the insurance company on that, and I have to find a place for my 81-year-old dad and my brother who helps take care of my pops. So, that's also on our main property here.
Yeah.
But we
live in an RV.
Even when we're parked here, we're in an RV. So,
and right next to a house that's been cut in half.
Yeah, pretty much. We can kind of see it from the window. We did have 80 acres when we moved to Tennessee years and years ago from Florida, and we wound up selling the majority of that, so a little over 70 acres we sold, and we kept the rest so that we'd have this property for Shelby's mom that we put a house on, and an acre of property with a house on it for my dad. And with multiple homes and whatnot, things happen, so you have to wind up figuring out how to deal with it.
Yeah, no, that's quite a story, and it's good that you guys are there for them, because I'm sure they really could use the help and all that, and making sure that they're in their 80s, so someone needs to keep an eye on them. It's important.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about this Bimble Effect project. What does it all mean, and how did you get started with it?
So the Bimble Effect means to walk at a leisurely pace, and our goal with it is to just remind everybody to slow down and enjoy the little things in life, because we all get so busy and life can be so fast paced that you end up going through you might travel, but you go through different places and then you end up skipping a lot. And then you look back and you're like, I wish I would have taken time to do this. So our goal is just to guide and help people slow down and enjoy more out of life.
Yeah. And sometimes to do that without another portion of the definition is to travel without a specific destination in mind. And what's nice about that is it does, when you don't have a destination in mind, it does slow you down and realize that it's the stops along the way that could be the most important part of the journey.
And the people you meet.
And what we found was, as we raised 5 kids, we spent a lot of time in Disney down in Florida, or, we would travel to some major cities. Everyone listening might have had this where you find yourself jumping from one major attraction to the next, or one roller coaster to the next roller coaster.
Yeah, figuratively and literally. Yeah.
For real. And what we've realized as we've gotten older and traveled is we really missed a lot of the good stuff in between, like Shelby was saying. So as we've slowed this down and bimbled a little bit more and slowed it down in main streets across the country, you really start to see things and people that you just drove right past in the past. Now, there's nothing wrong with that way of doing it either. Lord knows we've traveled overseas or done whatever we're doing. We've raced through towns and cities, and there's a certain joy to that. But now we're being exposed to the joy of the slower part of it too.
Yeah.
So, I probably haven't traveled as much as you guys, but I always tell, like, I'm an RV salesperson, just so you know, if you don't know that already. That's my day job. And a lot of people really try to overthink every single step. So while they're looking for the RV, they're thinking about, okay, where are we going to go? How are we going to do this? Where are we going to do? And it gets so complicated that they forget why they're RVing. And oftentimes, it should be to decompress a little bit, right? To enjoy the great outdoors, spend more time with the people you love, and then happen upon accidental miracles, meaning meet the people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet and becoming friends with them on accident. And I think those little moments are probably the most precious part of the whole process, right?
Well said. Agreed.
Yeah, they definitely are. Since we started our channel and have taken more time to get to know people in local places that we stop, we've met and heard some of the most amazing stories that, like, from people writing books that you just never knew about, to them accomplishing goals, to people who volunteer at museums and plant flowers. It's just been a beautiful thing to see.
Well, and to your point of buying an RV, and when you're first getting the RV, thinking that why you need the RV is almost always incorrect, unless you've had an RV before. And even if you have had an RV before, it almost doesn't matter. The RV is supposed to get you there, okay? And we all know that, so we can put that behind us. But when you think, I'm going to need the RV so that we have this much space because we're going to entertain people, and if so and so wants to travel with us, none of that happens. It's just
Right.
you figure it out as you go, and the most important thing is going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think over planning, you're going to find out that your plans don't work out anyway, and you have to go with the flow and figure out how to enjoy that moment that just happens by accident.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, let's get into what's been happening. You guys have been kind of a sensation in a short period of time. So in such a short period of time, what motivates you guys to get up and face this aggressive bimbling that you've been doing? It's kind of like with the TV show and everything, and Hershey. Yeah, I mean, great.
I'm gonna have to give you credit. That term you just coined, I'm gonna steal it.
Aggressively bimbling.
No, aggressive bimbling. Who's ready for some aggressive bimbling? I completely.
Well, I've been thinking about a bunch of different terms, like a bimbleism, like the eureka moment,
Yeah, no, but it's almost like jumbo shrimp.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like aggressive bimbling. And we do this. We aggressive bimble all the dang time. Sometimes we have to hurry up and get to where we got to get to slow down there. So that's true too.
Hurry up so we get there and relax.
Let's go. We have to hurry so we can relax.
Exactly.
So how would you answer that, Mike?
It's been a whirlwind, on our basically my husband is very supportive. So like 2 years ago, I was like, I just don't want this big house anymore. And I've always wanted to live in an RV. I've always wanted the full-time RV since I was a little girl. And I just woke up one day and I'm like, I just don't want any of this. So we'll take care of our parents, but we don't need a house, and let's do this. And he's like, okay. And then I'm like, oh, the next week I'm like, oh, by the way, I really want to get on this reality show called RV Unplugged. So in a couple weeks, they're having a rally in Texas. So can we go?
Yeah.
And he was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
okay. And then I just, you know, I get full force and wanting to do something. And I'm very lucky that he's along for the ride.
Yeah.
And that got us to Texas. And then there was some things that happened in our favor there where we the weather got really bad and Jack ended up having to help people get pulled out of, they were stuck and stuff. So we were blessed and got invited to be in like the VIP section for helping out. And we got to meet Phil and Stacy and Todd and Tony and Stephanie.
Production crew for RV Unplugged. Yeah.
And,
Wow, there you go.
And a bunch of other people. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to have tryouts for a chance to be on season 2. And I'm like, yes. So let's do this. And
well, you know, there was a movie that came out. I think it was Jim Carrey who was in it. And it was called Truth or Yes Man, or I forgot what it was, where he could tell a lie.
Right.
He always had to say yes. And there's some good YouTube channels based on this too, like Yes Theory, or just saying yes to things in life. And I'm going to say, based on my own experience, that if you give up control at times and just say yes without thinking of what the consequences could be, the consequences are oftentimes not what you think they're going to be. And, you know, we just said yes to things here. Like we just bought 80 acres 18 months later. Should we sell it? Okay, yes. And then should we just travel the country in the RV and see where we go? Well, what about finances? Who cares? Let's just go. Let's figure it out later. Who cares? And then all of a sudden you wind up on an RV reality show with a chance to win. And yeah, it's just yes the whole way. And that's what we're doing. We're just saying yes to life, whatever it's asking us if we want to try or do, and we'll bimble along the way.
Well, that's just amazingly fantastic. And I love your attitude about this, because we oftentimes as humans, right, get caught up in our thoughts. We get kind of locked in to all the things that could go wrong and forget about the things that are going to go right. And we need to weigh that heavier than worrying. I think worrying is a big, too much of our of what we do every day. And we'll get back to that in a little bit, because you do a lot of stuff about mental health and kind of goodwill and things of that nature. We'll get back to that. But let's talk about your audition process. And you had this like preliminary contest to allow you to audition, right? So go over all that and what that all means to us and you.
So when Shelby said, let's go to the finale rally, and maybe when we're at the finale rally for season 1 of RV Unplugged, maybe we can compete with a bunch of these other couples to see, you know, who will be on season 2. And I think maybe I had a misunderstanding. I thought if we're competing and we win, we're going to be on season 2. It's almost what I thought, but it did not.
It was just an opportunity to
audition
to get on. And we did not have a channel at the time at all.
No, we didn't have any.
Like that wasn't even a thought at the time. I was just hyper focused on getting cast on the reality show.
Let me back up for a second. How much did that like serendipitous helping that guy that was that family that was stuck in their RV and ending up in the VIP tent, did that have anything to do with you guys actually getting into that pre-audition audition?
I think life's just a series of building blocks, right? So as these experiences happen in our lives from when we're young till now, they're all in some way building blocks of what's next or what our life is built on. And I would say just who we are, naturally wanting to help. We got the joy out of helping. We met great people. They're still friends of ours now. And that was a joy for us. It just also so happened that it was Todd and I, Todd Henson, who's a producer, he kind of invented the show. And that was my first chance meeting him. I didn't even really realize as we're helping, he had a dually, I had a dually, we were trying to pull people out and mud everywhere. And it was fantastic. I wish there was more film of this because there was mud all over everything. It was a
real job, I guess.
It was, but it's the type of fun that in your mind you can see the montage, right? With some
Right,
1980s music in the background and mud everywhere, and us just laughing like it's the opening to a sitcom. And that was it. That experience, that building block was a joy in and of itself. But to your point, could it have led to maybe further things that wound up happening for us? I think so. I really do.
And that's the thing about saying yes to a moment. Instead of driving by those poor, unfortunate folks, you said yes, like we're going to stop and see what we can do to help them out. So it's one of those karma kind of moments, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you a little bit about the end of the pre-audition and into the actual audition. And hang in there for a sec.
By the time the what's next was next, we were completely unprepared and filled with anxiety. It was an interview, and it was right away. We were ushered into an interrogation room at the RV Unplugged Rally headquarters, where we sat in front of the entire production crew. And then, with the spotlights and cameras aimed squarely in our faces, it started.
Hey, do you want to be a contestant on season 2 of RV Unplugged?
Our defenses were no match for the onslaught of questions that were fired in rapid succession.
Get down!
Slipped and stuttered and stammered, and all the other S words that would overly dramatize our weakened state of communication. Okay, maybe you're right. We might be evaporating the drama level a bit here, but you know what it's like when a crowd of people are staring at you, asking you a bunch of personal questions. It can freak you out a bit, right? Your mind starts wandering all over the place and you just don't know how to answer. Well, that's what happened to us.
Oh, so always look at the camera.
Here are just a few examples of the answers we gave. Bring you behind the scenes a little bit.
Well, we're Jack and Shelby.
I'm Shelby. That's Jack.
True. What do you mean? What makes us special? Oh, the camera, right?
Oh.
What do you mean? What makes us special?
Well.
What? So what makes us special?
Yeah, I can see how that can be a challenging moment for you guys, for sure. But I love the production. And by the way, you're on the same sofa.
Yes, very true. We're sitting on the same. Well, we tried to mask it here with this fancy, I don't know, whatever this is that Shelby bought. But
that furry thing. No, there's obviously that you guys have some sort of artistic background. And I especially like the fact where you were sitting alone with your left arm missing. That was really moving.
Well, I mean, hey, this is class, right? We're class and high production value. So
yeah,
that's how it goes.
Just like I am over here. Yeah.
Right.
At any rate, I love what you're doing. So tell me a little bit about, you guys have a great rhythm. You have body language. The way you interact, it's just a real natural flow when you're on camera. And tell me a little bit about your background, because I don't know if all of that comes just naturally, or do you have some sort of background in theatrics or writing, or what's the secret?
I think everyone has some background in theatrics. I mean, anyone who's been a kid with an imagination, you probably, I mean, you yourself may have hit the game-winning home run in Game 7 of a World Series in your own backyard, right?
So you are almost about to tell me why you guys are so natural together. It might be the amount of time you spend together, obviously, but do you have any kind of formal background in arts or entertainment?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
We just are two people that don't take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
And we like to laugh and have fun. And I think that we just
that's it.
Do whatever, I guess.
Just pretty much the same as everyone else, right? I had an entire life and career in finance. I was the COO of a broker-dealer for a while, and then that kind of led to the ability to be able to do what we're doing now and express ourselves, editing videos, and just, I don't know, being silly or being ourselves or whatever it is. Maybe both.
And I used to be a director of human resources in the mental health industry, so neither one of us have ever.
There's some punchlines there, but no, we've never really had any formal anything. No formal training in any of this or editing. Maybe some family home movies back in the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But no, you guys are a lot of fun, and you make it so entertaining, right? And I think a good part of, an important part of getting information out to people is having fun and making it interesting to watch. And you guys do that without really working so hard. But I almost forgot to congratulate you on your belated birthday, Shelby. Congratulations. And you wear 50 years very well. I know it's kind of a milestone. Yeah. And I didn't mean to disclose that, but you did on social media. So
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, 50 years old. Wow.
But thank you. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
So tell me a little bit about what 50 means to you. Is there something that's going to either change or kind of progress in your life as a result of like making that new milestone?
So I think, I'm not really sure how it is for men, but for women, it might be a number, but it's also a mental thing. So I think turning 50 for me, it does seem weird still since my birthday was August 28th, but I try not to look at it as a number. I try to look at it as I'm trying to do everything I can to stay as healthy as I can and also to help other people be as healthy as they can. And I think that that's what I'm going to focus on for the next years to come.
Tell me a little bit more about that. You seem to be posting a lot of things that are really good for your emotions, your self-help, for your like being a good person, generally speaking, being healthy. Tell me a little bit about why that's so important to you to share those ideas.
Well, I think it's really important. Even at the Hershey show, a lot of women were coming up to me and telling me, Shelby, I really appreciate your post and stuff. It means a lot. I'm glad that you put that out there. I think that for a lot of women, it can be taboo to talk about your feelings or any mental health that you're going through or how you're feeling. If you feel pretty, if you feel like you need to lose weight or what to eat or what not to eat or just an overall thing. And a lot of people don't put it out there, I think maybe because they're scared or embarrassed and stuff. I don't get like that. I want to put it out there so that I can help people, or if people want to talk to someone that they know that I'm here and I'm an open ear for them and they can message me or call me and I can just guide and help in any way that I can.
So it's basically you're using your personal mental health strength to help reinforce other people's. It seems that way anyway.
Yes, and I care. We care about the way we eat. We try to eat healthy. We try to exercise, and we feel just by promoting things like that even if it helps just a few people or allows other people to get the idea of what can they do to even prolong their life a little bit, that they start to know that we are here for them. And
that's what we care about the most. We've realized in the last 18 months. Short time that we've been traveling with friends and RVing and meeting new people, we've realized a lot of folks find it hard to be healthy when you're traveling.
Right.
When you're on the road or you're RVing or you're on a vacation or whatever you might be doing, especially folks who have retired and they're trying to do this now as their thing, you find yourself abandoning some of the healthier things you might think of doing. And it winds up taking a back seat just because it's hard. Yeah. Like cheeseburgers on National Cheeseburger Day, which is fine in and of itself. But when some of those bad eating habits or whatnot take over, all we care about is people living as long as possible so we can all bimble together for as long as possible. And
I see you got the good healthy alternatives there too. So these are posts that I've been pulling up off of your website. And I was hoping that, I know it's good to eat a veggie burger and it's a great alternative and they're making them taste a little better than they used to. But I hope you let Jack eat a real cheeseburger now and again anyway.
Oh yeah. He's definitely, I'm the vegetarian of the family, but everybody else eats and chooses to eat whatever they want. I do it for health reasons for me, but I like to add both because, food has come a long way and there are ways to I guess what Jack's trying to say too is everybody's going to have their choices and we're not trying to change anybody's habits. There's just little things that you can do to enhance things. So eat the cheeseburger, but maybe instead of fries, have some broccoli.
Or a salad or something. But it's everyone's probably tried on January 1st of some year to change your whole life because you're going to be healthy this year. And although that could work in some very rare circumstances, for the majority of the time it doesn't. It just leads you to feeling disappointment. So we don't believe in that.
No.
What we believe in is not changing your entire life to be healthy, but sprinkling little healthy things into your entire life. Because what that'll do is that in and of itself will help you live longer. And, we want to stave off this dementia thing that we've seen so much of. And we just want, we don't want to see any of our friends get hit with that either. So we try to share these things without telling anyone what to do. Just share some good feelings, good vibes, and maybe what can help us all live a little bit longer.
No, I really appreciate that. And you're right. RVers are thinking because, they're outside and stuff, it's time to eat all the junk food. And I think it's important to really manage your diet and what you're consuming, because you want to be able to enjoy the great outdoors. You don't always want to be just sitting inside your camper or at the fireplace. Those are great places to hang out. But you also want to be able to get out there and hike, maybe bike, sightsee. And it takes energy to do that. And if we're not in decent shape and we're not able to get around, it makes it a lot more difficult for sure. Tell me a little bit about what this post means to you and how it's going to help folks.
Okay, yeah. So this one I put out there. It kind of goes hand in hand with what we talk about with the Bimble effect. It's just about, it's so important to take the time, even if it's 1 minute every day, to just practice mindfulness. Because if you keep going around, you let everything start bothering you, and the stress is so unhealthy. Stress is a silent killer. So, just my little things that I put out there, I hope it reminds people to just go outside and take some deep breath and think about look at a leaf, focus on a leaf, but just take that 1 minute to decompress and enjoy and not worry about all the things that are going on that could negatively affect your health.
That's actually wonderful, because sometimes you need to appreciate the leaf, right?
Exactly.
And say, yeah, something that someone said to me, or the bad news that I got from work, or whatever it may be, it really, those things, those negative things don't really have a profound effect on your life. It's how you live and how you enjoy each other's company and spend time together. Do you mind if we go back a little bit and talk about some of the challenges on that RV Unplugged show? Like, which ones were the most challenging to you, either mentally or physically? I noticed they were pretty complicated, some of them.
Yeah, a lot of them were complicated. One of the main things, that you don't always see watching the show is the long hours. So, you'll have 14-hour days, and sometimes you don't even really get a chance to eat a full meal.
Wow.
So it mentally was very, very, very exhausting, and you're constantly on, so your brain doesn't get to shut off. So a lot of times when you see some of the challenges, I mean, they were difficult, but it was just that we didn't really have a lot of sleep, and you didn't know when you're going to get called. It was like, hurry up and wait,
Right.
and then go do this, but no, you don't do this. And
That last day, the finale with us versus the Wags, that was a 16-hour day. So was the time it was over, and Shelby and I were running through this giant stadium, realizing we won. We were just physically and just emotionally at the very end of it. It was very extraordinary. But I can say that every one of the challenges, regardless of how hard they were, they were rewarding, and all of them in different ways, but they were rewarding at the very least because of the camaraderie we found with everyone else who was on the show.
So that's amazing. And, I'm sure it was a great challenge, and you probably learned a lot about each other as a result, because I noticed you had to do this one thing where you were blind telling somebody how to set up the campsite, and they couldn't have the visual effect on it. You had to just describe it to them. Torturous challenge.
Stressful.
And it puts a challenge on the relationship, right? And you say, I better really love this person. I'm not going to make it through this challenge.
Can you imagine if marriage counselors used that as a tactic and sat back and watched the dynamics between married people just to see how communication really operates, verbal communication? It would be pretty cool for a marriage counselor to watch that and to gain some insight on how the words are used and wife or just couples in general.
It's the new up and coming prereq before you get married.
That's true.
Put together.
What a great idea. You know, you'd know right away if they really have a good level of tolerance for each other, right? So you guys have a lot more planned for the rest of 24 and 25. Can you give us all a little bit of a heads up as to what you're going to be doing in the near future?
So we leave next week. We are invited to go to the Best Dang Grand Design Rally. That's what they call it, Best Dang Rally. But it's going to be the Grand Design Rally in Kerrville, Texas. We're actually meeting RV Unplugged production team out there to do some special events and a meet and greet.
Yep.
So we're excited about that. We may have a few more places this year, but our big announcement is we will be attending the United Rally with Switch It Up. They invited us in January at Quartzsite.
We've never been to Quartzsite, so that's going to be interesting.
Ooh, that is absolutely fantastic. I've heard so many things about it. It's on my bucket list for sure, because everyone's bragging about how wonderful that location is. And when you get there, so, you know, guys, congratulations on living such a beautiful life together. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. What can we do as an audience to help you keep on going with the Bimble effect?
Gosh, let's just meet up while we're on the road and have fun together. Let's Bimble together. That's the main goal is you know, that we all just be as kind as we can to each other. And when we see each other on the road, we spend time, say hi, high five, and Bimble together. That's the main goal.
And we really do appreciate when people come up and talk to us. And I always let people know, please feel free to private message on Facebook or get a hold of us. Our website should be up and running within the next couple months too, but we're always here. If anybody wants to reach out, we welcome it, and it would make us very happy.
Well, thank you so much for being on RV Game Changer. You folks are RV Game Changers, and we're going to be excited to keep an eye on you as time goes on. Thanks, and have a great day. And if you want to find the latest episode of RV Game Changer, make sure you go to rvtoday.tv, where you find our latest episode along with a lot of great information, tips and tricks, and videos of RVing Today TV. If you want to get a hold of me, go to RV Game Changer on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and make sure to subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.